And then being clear about what you want. So like when you have clarity, like you could sit around and wait for life to happen to you, or you can cause life to happen. So predicting the future, I'm saying I can predict the future because I'm going to create what I want to have happen. Welcome to another 𝗥𝗴𝗀𝗃 of Secrets. Today's podcast is called How to Create an Identity Shift Without Having to Be in an Identity Crisis. So now you might say, Mike, why do I need to understand this? Here's the thing. This is what I know about people. Okay, people are exactly where they are based on the identity that they have. So like if you're like, hey, I'm stuck. Hey, like I'm trying to figure out how to create the good life. And then you're asking yourself, what is standing in my way, preventing from me obtaining exactly what I want? It'll all come down to your identity. What's the identity? How do you associate? How do you see yourself? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down 7 steps that you can use literally to start creating a new identity. And so one of the things that, like step number 1, create a creed or create a manifesto. Create the thing that you stand for, the thing that you believe, the thing that you aspire to be. So I created mine, and I'll read it to you and you can see what it is. I call it the Alpha Hammer Creed. And it goes, I'm an alpha because I'm a leader, protector, and defender. I'm a hammer because I am a weapon that strikes with precision and gets things done. I always find a way, or I make a way without excuses. I am clear about what I want. I can predict the future because I create the future I must have. I build wealth. I live the good life and always take people with me. I am unapologetically an alpha hammer, and this is my creed. And when I go through that, like, here's some things that I identified on it. When I take and I think of how to operate as an alpha, like I'm saying, look, this is how I want to associate myself as a leader, a protector, a defender, somebody that will actually try, that will make things better wherever they're standing, right? And a hammer, and I said it's a weapon because when you think of a hammer and you're trying to figure out how to get stuff done, you don't just take a hammer and just start beating the crap out of every piece of a wall, right? You hit a very specific nail. I want this nail and I want to create this nail and I want to stick it inside that wood, whatever it is. And I said it's a hammer because it's a weapon because it has to strike with precision to get things done. It's not wandering all over the place, okay? It's very specific and very precise what it's seeking to obtain. It's like, I refer to it as thinking of focus, okay? And then the next piece that I said, okay, this is what I aspire to be, is like find a way or make a way. Like I always find a way or make a way without excuses. And then being clear about what you want. So like when you have clarity, like you could sit around and wait for life to happen to you, or you can cause life to happen. So predicting the future, I'm saying I can predict the future because I'm going to create what I want to have happen. But more importantly to me is as I do this entire process, I always like to take people with me. I don't want to be at the top of the hill and say, cool, I'm the only one that's got money. I'm the only one that's got this. No, I've always taken people with me. When I've created partnerships in the past, I did it so I could take people with me. I wanted other people to be successful. And so very first thing, that's the step number 1 I'll recommend to you is sit down, create a manifesto, create a creed. Identify with what you stand for. You can, if you want to go take a closer look at mine, go to my Instagram account. It's 𝗤𝗡𝗏𝗄𝗏. That's my handle. And then right there, I have this little thing at the bottom that says screenshots. Just go there, click on the screenshots, and it'll pull up my creed. So you can do a screenshot of it. In fact, if you don't have one and you're trying to figure out how to do one and you want to just borrow mine, do that, screenshot it, put it on your phone. You can use it as your wallpaper or your background, okay? So, but identify or create a creed. What do you stand for, okay? 2 is you start working in the direction towards like your manifesto, the thing that you stand for. So this is step number 2 is recognize wins. It helps to motivate you. What will cause you to start moving is if there's like, you can call it stars and you can call it Dobermans. Stars is the thing that you aspire towards. The Doberman's what scares you, chases you towards the thing. Just pause, think like, what would happen if I did this? Like, what's the outcome that I would like? And you're like, wow, maybe I could have the good life. I could do this or I could do this. You identify the things that you want. But then you're like, what if I don't do that? It's like, then I would always have regret that I didn't accomplish. I didn't do this thing. And so identify things that would actually cause you to cause you to be motivated. It helps if these things are strong. This one guy I saw, he had this piss-like thing or whatever. Like, he's like, dude, if I do this thing or if I don't do this thing, I'll drink my own pee. And I'm like, dude, that's nasty. But it motivates him because he's like, I don't want to drink it. But he'll set a challenge like that for him to cause him to take action they wouldn't have taken otherwise. So that's number 2. Document those wins and stuff. Okay, number 3 is you got to start changing the stories you tell yourself and you tell other people. Like, one thing I've noticed is you go through the sales process. People will tell you things about them that they want you to know. There was this lady, she was up on the stage at a presentation. She goes, my mother came from Africa and she moved us over to the UK. And the guy said, stop. Audience, what does this woman want us to know? Does she want us to know anything about her dad? Nope. What does she want us to know? Her mom's from Africa. She moved to UK. She's a strong woman. What it is the language that we use will determine the outcomes that we get. So the question is what language, what words are you wanting people to understand? Like, what things are you associating with in your identity? Like, the things that you say are not an accident. Pay attention. Like, why did I just say that? Then you're like, holy crap. That's because that's like woven into my identity. You don't accidentally say things. And so you start paying attention. Like, what's the story? What do I believe? Like, there was this lady one time, she was at this other event I was at, okay? She had this really, really good story about how they came in, they took her children, she lost her kids, it wasn't her fault. Like, the state did her a major injustice, right? But when they pulled it back and they said, what if you were to take accountability for your actions? Like, instead of being a victim, you can't be a victor when you're playing victim. What would it be like if you told yourself a different story? She goes, yeah, I was doing drugs. They kind of caught on to I was doing drugs and stuff that I shouldn't do, and they came and took my kids away. And she was like, oh, she's like, holy cow, I finally admitted that what happened actually probably was the right thing because I was not actually living correctly. So she finally took ownership of what she was doing. Now she can write a different story. It's habits. Like, this is an example that you can see. My wife mentioned to me just today, she was driving down to the gym. She goes, man, I always seem to go the exact same way. And I'm like, you know why? She goes, why? She goes, because what it is your subconscious mind, it takes up a lot of energy. The brain is like the teeny little part of your body, right? But it uses up 25% of the power. To be able to preserve brain power so you can think of other things, you outsourced getting from here to the gym to your subconscious mind so that you didn't even have to pay attention or think about it. That's why you follow the same pattern and route every time, because you didn't want to actively think of how to get to the gym. You just followed the pattern, let the subconscious do it, okay? Your subconscious has playing a very large role in your life. And you've got to take and say, subconscious mind, we got to rewrite the story. The subconscious mind it can't tell the difference between what you can imagine versus what actually happened, because it just receives information and then it responds to what's placed inside it, okay? So you got to figure out how to change the words and the things that you say and believe. Like, you could come up to me, I could start listening to you, and I could like, dude, like I could say a whiner or a winner. I'm like, bro, you're a winner. Like, bro, you're a whiner. Like, I can tell by your words, like, what is the first thing you're talking about? You complaining or are you talking about the good life? Just pay attention. It's the details in your identity is seeping out through you everywhere in your words. So now you got to figure out, start changing the story, tell a different story. Now, one of the things, so we're on step number 4, control your state. What do I mean by controlling your state? Okay, look, the quickest way to create a identity shift in how you believe or you act is control your state. So like I mentioned this before, put your hands on your hips like Superman, right? Stand in a very, very powerful position. From this position, now you're in a state of power. But if you think with your shoulders hunched over, looking down at the ground, like that's like, is that a strong position? Like, no, right? So the big idea is to control the state. If you're like, let's just say you're not happy right now. Like, if you think about it, are you breathing deeply or shallow, right? Shallow. So if you want to be in a powerful state, you breathe deep. Big, deep breath. Put your chest out, right? Tip your head up, like show some confidence. Pretend like you're Superman. It's the easiest way. Just act like you're Superman. Put your hands on the hips and act like that, okay? Boom. You put yourself in a power state. Control your state. Find a way to not be depressed. They took people that were like chronically depressed and they said, okay, like none of the medications worked on you, but what we're going to do is make you stand in front of the mirror and smile at yourself for like 15 minutes every day. Boy, that worked better than any prescription or medication that they had. You might think, well, No, it doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, actually it does, because your brain is a chemist. And when you put yourself in a powerful state, you can start sending the right signals to create different chemistry inside your body so that you can start getting better results. Okay? Powerful state. Step number 5, touched on this briefly, but visualize what you want. When I'm saying you want to change your story, I'm talking about take time, take 15 minutes in the morning and meditate. See the future, see the outcome. It makes sense. They have done tests where they've had like groups like, okay, you practice free throws, do it for like half hour a day. You group number 2, do nothing. Then group number 3, just visualize it. The group that visualized it but didn't actually do it had basically the exact same results as the group that actually practiced. The top athletes visualize success. They see the ball going through the hoop. They see the success. Like they visualize the outcome. As a result, they can obtain these outcomes. So see it. See it. Put it into your subconscious mind. Take 15 minutes. Meditate on it. See the outcome, okay? If you take and you do that, then your subconscious mind, you will start to rewrite the programming or the record, or whatever you want to call it, that's inside your mind that your subconscious mind works off of, okay? They can do that. So step number 6 is come up with a mantra, some things you can say multiple times a day. So like one of the things I do is I go into the gym, I like before I do my exercise, I say to myself, bigger, stronger, faster, bigger, stronger, faster. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, bigger, stronger, faster. I create this belief system inside myself. One of the things that I do in addition to that, I've noticed this. Like if you go to the gym, you weight train or anything like this, try this trick because it literally works. I just sit there and I take in big, deep breaths, 10 of them, okay? I fill my body, I fill my lungs, and then when I take and I do that exercise, I'm like, boom, I brought more power to the table because not only did I get myself in a powerful state, but I also used the words like bigger, stronger, faster. Whatever it is that you can do this. Like in part, just use your manifesto. Like every time Tony Robbins gets up on a stage, he's like, I now command myself to get into a peak state so that I can serve people, okay? And he does that so that when he steps out on stage, you're getting the best Tony Robbins possible. Like if he does it, it should make sense for you to do it because he has powerful, powerful rituals that have helped him obtain tremendous success. So step number 7 is start taking steps. Start taking steps towards your dream. So if your goal is to have a house, go look at some houses. Like if your goal is to have a particular car, go test drive the car. Your subconscious mind now has to believe that you've received it. In the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, he talked about one of the 17 character traits that these guys had that were tremendously successful. Now, if I said that book Think and Grow Rich, like how many of you think that if you were to listen to that book and actually follow the instructions, you would become rich? Like almost everybody would put their hands up because the data is like been already proven that it's true. So one of the things he says in there, he says, he calls it infinite intelligence. Some people think of God. He's like, whatever it is, take and send your request into the universe that this is what I want to do and see it in detail. Like detail, pin it out, make clarity, whatever it is so that you can have a very clear visualization of the thing. Ask the universe for it and then be grateful that you're going to receive this thing. Like the timing, you might not have control over necessarily the timing. You're putting it out into the universe, asking for the universe to bring this thing to you. And it's been proven over and over and over again that this works. Like you can read the book, The Secret. That's probably one of the slickest books or the easiest books to help you see exactly what I'm talking about right here, okay? So there is the 7 steps to the identity shift. I'm going to do a quick recap on it so that you got it. So first one I said, create a manifesto creed. Identify what your beliefs are. And if they're not what your beliefs are, like identify the beliefs that you believe that you want to have. Like what is it that you want? So create that manifesto, okay? Document the wins. Step number 2, document the wins. Step number 3, change the stories you're telling yourself. Pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth and observe that those words may or may not be serving you. You need to start using words that serve you well, okay? Step number 4, control your state. Get into a strong position. Number 5, visualize. See the result in your mind. Visualize the outcome. Step number 6, come up with an incantation or a mantra or something that you say to yourself. Like something that inspires you. I saw this lady had this little wrist strap, right? And right here, she goes, when she wasn't in a positive state, she would see it, she had a writing on, and she would like say, I think it said snap. She'd pull it, she'd snap. She'd go, snap, I've just snapped back. I am back in control of me. I will take charge. Snap. And she has that on her wrist and she does it. It was cool. I got one of those bracelets. I liked it. So then step number 7 is like start taking steps towards the outcome. Is it the house? Is it the car? Is it the vacation? Start planning your vacation, right? Start like literally take steps towards the outcome. And if you do that, that is how you get an identity shift out being in an identity crisis. That is another 𝗥𝗴𝘀𝗀 secrets. These are the things that I use daily to help me create a complete turnaround from where I was. Maybe it's been a while since I shared this, okay? So the year was 2018. This is where a lot of this stuff stemmed from. If you look at my podcast, go back to the very first episode. This is what happened to me, okay? What happened in the very beginning, or back then, is we just had our 8th child. We brought our 8th child home. After we brought our 8th child home, there was a big fire up here on the mountain. God, we were only home like 3 days, 2 days. All of a sudden, the police officers show up at our house. They're like, the whole mountain's getting evacuated. You have to leave. And it was terrifying, right? So we're packing up everything we can, but you got to keep in mind, we've got 8 kids. So how in the world are we going to account for like all this stuff, right? Then we got to go find us a place to stay. So we went and stayed at my parents' house. During that time, we expected to lose the house. That's what they said. All the data suggested that the house, the whole mountain was going to go up, okay? During that same window, the business I had completely collapsed. So all of a sudden, now I've got no business and I'm basically out of my house. So to make it worse, it actually got so difficult that I had to have my church. I asked my church to start help me make my mortgage payments. So they made 2 of my mortgage payments, and then they put us on assisted food for 6 months just so that we had food to eat. Like, that's how bad it got. Like, did I visualize the perfect storm where all of a sudden my business is collapsing and everything like that would go sideways? Nope. Why do you think I'm interested in multiple streams of income? It goes back to a podcast I did previously called Anti-Fragile. Like, it put me down this path where I started looking at this like, do I want to find myself in a position where I'm fragile again? The answer is no. Like, that was life saying, Mike, do a reboot. Let's do something different. Let's change the way you're doing things. Like, let's figure out how to create the good life for you so that you're not fragile or you can fall apart. And I started working on this stuff. This is what's helping me shift or create an identity shift, which has caused me to spur off 2 different businesses to start creating multiple streams of income so that in the end, it becomes anti-fragile or anti-fragility, okay? All right, that, my friends, is another 𝗥𝗴𝘀𝗀 secrets, and I will talk to you later.